call this meeting to order.
Yes, sir.
August 5th for the Bond Oversight Committee. Ms. Benjamin is going to lead us in the pledge, and Mr. Victor is going to lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I pray that you would bless us, all of us, those that are gathered here tonight. We come together in friendship and fellowship. Thank you for the blessings of our individual and collective God-given gifts. Lord, place in our hearts the desire to make a difference to our families, to our community, and to our country, and to the many cultures and peoples worldwide. Thank you for our faith in a world where many know fear, for friends in a world where many know loneliness. Father, work in us, with us, and then through us. Give us balance in times of destructive and uncertainty. Help us move towards our goals with determination and always with an abundant sense of humor. This I ask in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, Mr. Victor, you might have found your permanent spot on the board. You did that a little too well. We do have a quorum. Ms. Kitchens is going to be a few minutes late. I know Ms. Yvette may have to leave early, just Dr. Hunter's not at his seat, but he's here.
I'm sorry.
First item of business is approval of the minutes from April 22nd.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as presented unless one of the other members has a correction.
I have a motion from Mr. McCoy.
second that.
Second from Mr. Russo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. I guess we'll start with project updates, which is always a fun place to start. First in our packet, which is probably the easiest thing to do, is going to be Kelly Smith.
Black and primary.
Black and primary.
That's right, black and primary.
I'll get it right one day.
Huh?
Yeah, come on up. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. James Marini with Ajax. Thanks for having me back. This is Ron Frick. He's the senior project manager, boots on the ground at Kelly Smith. So I'm going to let him give you guys a quick update on where we are with construction. It's pretty impressive, actually, where we are with construction at that job site. So, Ron, you want to let everybody know where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. How's everybody doing tonight? And I'm glad we're up first, actually. I don't know how long this thing would go, but. Oh, okay. Thanks for the warning. So summary, basically all the slabs are in except for phase 2. Well, you might as well call it, for the sake of percentages, 80% of the slabs are in. We got block walls going in. We have still some little bit of earthwork going on, but most of that is done. We have metal roof trusses delivered and start installation on building 600, and we'll work consistently through the other phases starting tomorrow. That's kind of a 30,000 foot view. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I would encourage, if you guys have a chance, go check it out. It's pretty impressive with the speed at which it's going up. Financially, 67, 235, 645, 40. Of that, we have billed expense 15.1, so 15,112. I think it's the same as on your page there. GCs started at 2573919. We've billed 453 13296. That's about 18%. Sub values, that's the stuff that we sublet, if you will. 59 206 764 versus 13 344 922 bill. That's 23%. And then contingency balance, we've only used 3% of the 2.9 million. So it's very financially healthy.
Just to get the numbers up.
Yes, sir.
Than this number when we first settled on the GMP. Is this is numbers after the tax savings?
Correct.
And is this 68 when the
The other 68,199, that's before.
Correct.
On the bottom left of that sheet in our packet has that 68,199 number you're talking about, and then has the deduction.
I got it. Well, would it appear there?
It has the original contract sum and then the net changes by change order. And obviously, as we all know, the ODP change orders are kind of tricky to understand, but this is the first owner direct purchase change order of negative 964.
You deducted all of the taxes at one time.
No, this is just the first batch of owner direct purchase POs that we asked the district to issue so that the tax savings can begin to be realized. So the way we do this is when we get started, we get as many subcontractors as possible that whose materials can be run through the owner direct purchase program, and we issue POs strategically. So like you need steel right away, right? So we want to push to get those POs done first so the steel can be ordered. So when we get a batch of them, we send them in to the district as a change order to JD for initial review, and then it gets approved, and then it gets, deducted. It's a funny thing that it's not just confusing for you guys, it's confusing for everybody. In fact, internal construction software oftentimes just basically kind of omits owner direct purchase change orders because you're not really reducing scope. You still are responsible for all those dollars. It's just how you're running it through so you can get the tax savings.
I agree with you saying that. This is not answering my question. When we went through this,
Yes, sir.
you estimated the complete cost of all this stuff, materials with taxes in a GMP that we reviewed.
Yes, sir.
And then after that, you went and changed it, took the taxes out. That's why it's a lower number.
We included you mean we included a negative allowance in the GM? Okay, so right. So the way we do that is we say, and we might be confusing the value of the change order with the value of tax savings. So, okay. Yeah. So the way we do that is when we do a GMP, we talk to the client and see if they wish for us to include a negative dollar value for anticipated tax savings. So it's like, we know we're going to save some tax. So let's show what we're going to save. Some clients like to do that. Some clients don't. Right. So in this case, we did it and we included an allowance. I don't recall the value, but I can look it up. A negative allowance. So what that means is if you think about it like this, if we anticipate that we're going to save $100 in tax savings, right? And then we save, we go through the process and we save 75. Well, then reconciliation, you'd owe me $25, right? Because I've put a negative value in there. If at the end, which is more likely, we've saved 125, then $25 of that goes back to you. It's a matter of bringing that negative value positive is the point of it. And typically that happens on projects. So that's why we are pretty confident in putting those negative anticipatory line items in there.
I was a part of that discussion. School system said we prefer to see the deduction now.
Yes. And it is just an estimate at that point. There's no way we can know for sure what that'll be. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So I passed by there and it's been very impressive because a couple of weeks ago I passed by there and it was nothing. Now it's just like the rest. So yeah.
Thank you.
Do anticipate that that you're going along with the timeline that you estimated here, or do you feel like you possibly could be finished earlier, or?
It's an aggressive schedule because we're working to get for the school year, so that's and I don't see us getting done any earlier, because there's other reasons for that too. It's not just about the construction; it's about the work that has to happen after that. So I don't want to really say that with confidence. I will say that the major markers that we look for, like when structure's done, when we're dried in, those types of things, those are fairly well on track. We're in fairly good shape at this point. So, and I mean, like you can see, it's definitely, we have what's Ed Sharp's the superintendent. What's his tagline? I'm going, or what is he? We're not stopping. We're not slowing down. So
It's a big banner on side.
he keeps going. So
So in your timeline, did you anticipate like hurricane season?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We do include some. We for all Florida projects, we include some float in there for Florida weather in general. Yes, ma'am. If there's heavier rain during a season, we'll report it.
Yeah, it'll all go into daily logs too as well. As the
Yeah.
project goes, we'll know if there's any major delays for weather.
So since our mission is to follow the dollar, let me ask you this, anticipating going down, do you see anything on the horizon that is troublesome to you from a financial point of view?
No, sir. No, sir. And it is early. I mean, we're at 3%, or was it 3% for contingency? We have a heftier contingency allowance at this project than we did Crescent City. So we have some comfort levels there. We have some comfort levels with some allowances we put in for work that we knew would probably need to happen based on some lessons learned at Crescent City, and then also some elements at this project that we knew were there. So right now we're very confident. We're 100% bought out, which is a critical milestone. In other words, we've subcontracted with all the contractors, and so that's a big milestone to get past. There's always unforeseens, but I don't foresee a significant issue on this project.
That raises a good question, though. In Crescent City, we spent all the contingency. I think.
Correct.
That's a question for Crescent City, but that's not what we're doing.
Understood.
But in this case, we just started to spend, we're going to spend like 3%. We automatically anticipate we're going to spend a lot of it, because with a good plan, you spend none of it.
So it depends on so many things. It depends on so many things. It's difficult to answer. So, when you get to a certain point of when you're estimating these jobs, you're getting GMPs, you have a certain scope, right? If there's a need or a desire or, something from a client, like I don't fully control it, right? I mean, if we decided as a team, or there was a need or a new law or something that got passed that says, hey, now you have to have, I don't know, laser gates or something, who knows, right? So then, JD might come to me and say, hey, can you pay for these laser gates out of contingency? And I would, of course, say, yes, sir. Right. So,
It's also keep the school needs to get ready.
I won't comment on what JD's job is.
It's members to both parties' advantage to spend the contingency. It's to your advantage, it's to the school district's advantage. It's just not to the taxpayers.
We don't mind returning it at the end, really. Ajax does, we don't. Yeah. It doesn't. We would prefer actually to not have any changes. That's our preference, and then in which case we wouldn't spend any. But that just never happens.
3% we've already spent. That's not.
Yes.
But it's got it in the tone of your discussion that we're going to end up within the contingency. The goal should be with the company.
Absolutely, it should be the goal, but it just invariably doesn't happen, which is why contingency is so much of a standard, for these types of projects.
It's a temptation for.
Or pretend we don't have it. We'll underreport it. No.
Next page of Crescent City.
Yes, sir. So there's not too much of an update there, other than school starts next week, Monday. Yeah. So it's obviously the whole team, and I don't just mean, it's certainly not. It's JD and his team and Travis and those guys are, running around like chickens with their head cut off, making sure everything's ready. When you have, anytime you build a building, it doesn't matter if it's a building that's been built 20 times, it's still a custom. Everything's custom, right? You're building it in the field. So there's always bugs. There's some bugs, things that we're working through. Hey, this drain's clogged, or, it's warm over here, or those kinds of things. So we're still working through, with JD and his team on any of those types of items. We still have somebody there full time. We'll continue to have somebody there as long as needed until all bugs are worked out, and then continue to remain engaged for the warranty phase. So financially speaking,
Question on the bottom right.
of course.
The sheet that we have,
Yes, sir. I'm pulling it up right now.
on the sheet it has sub values 59 million versus actual 50, and it says 96%.
Correct.
That's not 96%.
Did the wrong percentage. So when I was looking at this the other day, and we were kind of under a deadline to send it out, I might want to update you on that 50. I think the 50 is incorrect. I think the typo is the 50. I think it's more, because, there's always a chunk of money to release at the end. It's like, okay, Mr. Sub, you're not completely done, so I'm not releasing this, right? But I think the 50 is a typo, and I can quickly get that revised value to you. But to take this, the takeaway is that the subcontractors are also nearly 100% paid. It doesn't concern me that they still have a percentage left, because like I said, there's, various things like if they haven't delivered attic stock or, whatever the case may be, that we're holding a few bucks. Yeah. Yes, sir.
High school got delayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No chance of this being delayed opening on Monday.
No.
So I guess I just
Please.
No, that's a good question, Jared. I saw that report this afternoon and thought, thank goodness we're not in that situation. But no, we're ready for kids down there now. The truth of the matter is, we're down there picking and putting and trying to find. We're seeing the bits of tape and paint that need to be fixed. The parents and kids aren't going to see that. We've looked at it 1,000 times. But we're ready to go. We're ready for students Monday morning.
I've been through it 3 times. And it looks like it's ready to go. Teachers are in there now. They're putting all the things they need in their classrooms.
It'll look different on Tuesday.
Well, you can get lost in it. It's so big. Yes, ma'am.
So I know that there are like little kinks and something.
Of course.
That's happening right now, but if something big were to happen.
Sure.
With, like, it says that the contingency, 99% of $6,500. So would it come from that, or would it come from like something being under warranty?
No. So, once there's very rare cases where, you're going to identify some issue that, if a drain isn't draining, right, then, typically that's going to be, there's some issue with the drain, you fix it, right? If there is added scope, that's a different story. You have to talk about how you're going to fund that as a team. The contingency isn't enough probably to, handle that, any kind of significant amount of change. So, but, it's so low at this point, you can consider the contingency, to essentially have been exhausted. So what we're doing right now, just so everybody's in the loop, is now that everything, for lack of a better term, dust is settled, right? The dust is essentially settled. We have substantial completion. We're working those kinks out. We're into final and warranty phase, right? That's what we're doing right now. We will basically, reconcile with the district. So all the dollars, this line item, that line item, everything else, with one final reconciliation CO, which I'm sure you guys saw in one of the last projects. So we'll do that as well. And then we'll know that'll be it, right? So that'll be bottom line. This should be a matter of math at that point to see every single line item. And it should happen within the next month or so.
I think you mentioned last week something that came up 3 months from now. Killer commitment, just being there. What is
Sure. So it's a 1-year warranty for Ajax. This is the hard answer, right? This is the contract. So it's a 1-year warranty for Ajax. However, built into the specifications by CRA are longer warranties for various elements. So like, it's just like if you build a house, right? Your air handling unit is probably going to have a 5-year or 10-year warranty. Your roof's probably going to have a 20-year, so it's similar in that regard. So, 1 year for craftsmanship and all that stuff, and various for different elements. Correct. Substantial completion was June 12th. Yeah, so it's 1 year from substantial completion, but I've lived where I live for 40 something years, so just call me. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean,
They weren't completed.
Well, substantial. So the way the contract language is written is it's 1 year from substantial completion. It's just the way the contract's written. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I agree with you. We have that argument with subs. Like when we start up air handling units early to get the buildings, conditioned for woodwork and such, they'll argue, well, we started up way back then. No, it's from substantial completion. So Anyway.
One thing that happened there that really has nothing to do with us, but the county instituted a four-way stop at Union Avenue and 308. It's been a big improvement.
I'm good. Glad you said
It really has.
No, they've got the school safety beacons up now too. They'll be lit up Monday morning to start blinking for everybody.
I had 3 questions about Crescent City, but y'all's discussion about these numbers, gotta ask about them now.
We added to your list?
Yeah, because, first of all, general conditions for Crescent City was 3.235 million. That was the general conditions. That's the number I would expect to see.
Not,
No.
where do you see that?
Because I've got the GMB.
Let me see. Is that the GMP or is that your sheet?
When I take off to the GMB, I got the GMB.
Okay.
I don't get the 12, first, and then spending 1450 out of 1225 is not 100%.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. When
Whoever.
yeah, this wasn't good. This is Ajax's fault. This is not CRA's fault or JD's fault. This one specifically, I believe that when I reviewed this, I made an error. So what I can do is revise this and immediately send it back to JD. So it's my fault.
My mind is simply, what was the GC?
Right.
And then how much did you actually spend?
Absolutely. Well,
That's,
okay. So if you have that number there, it's essentially 100%.
yeah, that's actually.
Yeah.
Because typically you spend all of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we've exhausted that. And it's not like that doesn't mean that, we charge you more for GCs now. That's just tough luck. If we have somebody out there a little longer, we have somebody out there a little longer. So,
I do have a question about GC.
yes, sir.
But when you were, the escalation fee was small, but real.
Yes.
At Crescent City.
90,000, I believe.
Yes.
So there was work that was required, and I don't recall. I don't know if Greg might be able to help me recall it. And I can have this answer for you in a minute if I have my computer open, but there was work that was required that didn't have a funding source. And so the decision was made at the time to use the escalation allowance because we didn't have any escalation fears any longer. So it was, I think it might have been security cameras now that you mention it. Yeah. So, and it was approved, like we don't just use it. Like we're not just, hey, we got to use it. The specific is we email somebody like JD or somebody and we say, hey, this is our suggestion. Do you agree? And then it gets approved and then we would use it.
Is that kind of allowed under the rules of engagement? Meaning, spend all the contingency, you had nothing left to do, let's just say it was.
I think it's the school district's fault for not having someone on top of the fact that we need security cameras.
So whoever's fault it was.
So that's
It's a category of the GMP, which is not used for that category.
I think I understand what you're saying, Dr. Hunter.
It's put in there for escalation in case the subcontractor needed handholding. Okay? And it's $864,000 at the other school. It's minor here, but it's almost $1 million in this one. Point is, are you going to spend it like you spend contingency?
Well, let me ask it a different way. So let me ask it a different way, Dr. Hunter, for a different perspective. Let's say that we used all the contingency at Kelly Smith, right? And we had that escalation allowance, and it was 4 months before the job was going to open. We knew there wasn't going to be any escalation. And then for some reason, there was a district required change, right? And I said, well, I don't have anywhere to fund this from. I have to write you a change order to add to your contract value. Or you can fund it from your allowance from an escalation we know we're not going to use. It makes more sense to fund it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Remember, the district got written up for not keeping track of the category of the GMP. Staying in line with them. So the question is, under the current contract, is JD or somebody authorized to spend the escalation dollars not for escalation?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know,
I mean, you,
Black and white answer will be, Dr. I don't know if, end of the day, if I've got authorization to move it from one in essence, one line item to the other. We've allocated the dollars to the project. And I think that I've approved it because it's usually something like that. It's mission critical. We got to get it done. And it's far better to go ahead and get the work done, because if I come back out and say, okay, we've got to change the contract, I know where you're coming from, but I don't know. I'd have to ask that question.
Concerned if we go into this thing.
Sorry, let me just.
Extra escalation will spend.
So the way you could do it, if you say, hey, if you're looking at it like JD is, I got $60 million for a job. I mean, you could say, hey, Ajax is now returning this escalation allowance. Here you go. Here's a change order back. It's all yours now. Well, you could have that, but then if you had something you had to fund, we'd have to write an additive change order back. Yeah.
What happened in this case?
Yeah.
I think the security cameras, the district said, we need this adapted, so it had to be used. There's no choice.
And I'm only asking, does the district, in particular JD, have the authority to go between categories?
Well, I think this was before JD was even.
No,
You have to go to the board.
Yeah, that's what I think that's.
Yes, it would go to the board.
That's what I agree.
That is our process.
Particularly for the $900,000 we had at Kelly Smith.
Anything that would be a change from what was originally agreed upon has to go to the board for change.
Yeah, but see, where I'm coming from is contingency is basically tempting money to spend. Now you could be adding to that this, another $1 million. It's tempting to spend. And I agree with you, you've got to get on with the project, but hopefully you get a decision made.
Well, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The lady said it has to go to the board. Did this go to the board?
The $90,000 for the as far as I understand it did.
Those are in there.
I have to look back at the records on it. We would not act without approval of some kind. Yes, ma'am. We would not act without approval.
And I just want to say, JD and I have conversations all the time. We are saying no to some things that could technically be some contingency, but we are trying to be extremely careful with what we're spending, so that we are trying very hard to be very fiscally responsible with this money. So it's truly not just money that we say, oh, it's there, let's see what we can find. We are making sure that what we say yes to, and most of those both of us have discussion on almost everything. And if we say yes to something, it is critical for students learning, for teachers, for a school to run, for something that is safe. Yes.
I agree, you got to keep the project going. I agree with that.
We're trying not to spend money, I promise.
No, that's.
No, you're saying the way it's tracked. If it's an allowance for escalation and it's not used for escalation, then let's make it clear that it's not and use it here and get the approval. Yeah, understood.
It was written up because they were not paying attention to the category of the DMV.
Roger
Won't
that.
happen again.
Right. I heard the question about the general conditions, you spend it all, which makes sense.
Yes, sir.
And the contract is a cost contract. You read the contract.
Yeah, it's a yes.
You're reimbursed for cost,
Correct.
and GCs are cost.
Correct.
How can we, since I guess we're not doing an audit, how do we be sure that the costs for payroll are actual costs?
Yes. So the way we do that is when we do payment requests, every single dollar that we charge is we're required to provide backup for it. So like if I say that Ron is there 40 hours this week, you don't just take my word. I'm showing you the backup that shows that he was there 40 hours.
Do you have to show that he got paid for 40 hours at the advertised rate?
So we had the rates in the GMP for each position.
But are those the actual rates that you pay?
That's the way we work it out. Now, when you do this, yes, the answer is yes. The nuance is that, staffing changes and things like that. So you have to, at any given second, is that value going to match exactly? Maybe not, but we can certainly reconcile any of those things that don't happen. That's the idea, and that's what we strive to do. There's a lot of complications that, can come about that. But for everything else, if you're not just talking staffing, like if I said, okay, Ron's, I'm using you, whatever, $300 of whatever, then that's what we're going to bill you for. Yes, sir.
I think I brought this up before. A standard technique in public contracts is to agree to a labor rate and pay everybody a lot less. That becomes added margin. Many companies add 2 or 3% to 3% of margin by doing that trick. I'm not saying any judge is doing that. But in other words, when we put an estimate in GMP for $250,000 a year, let's hope they're paying $250,000 a year, that he actually gets that. That's the issue.
What would you
That's
see to show you all that?
Oh, well,
that's one of the beauties of CM.
this was what James was saying.
Well, that's one of the beauties of CM is we're transparent. Like that is a very, like if I'm a general contractor, if I'm a GC, if you're getting this project in a general condition, or excuse me, a GC delivery, then heck yeah, I'm going to be, if I have to show anything to you, I'm going to show you the wrong thing, right? Because I had this way, but CMs are transparent. So you can always ask those questions and we'll show you.
But an audit would check the payroll versus what was charged, but
Correct.
an audit would do.
So,
We're not tasked to audit, it's our task to question.
Yeah, no, but if there were an audit, an audit would do that.
Right.
Second question.
Yes, sir.
Other question. What is your overhead rate?
Overhead profit on this one is
Profit.
it's a fee, and I think it's 4 point.
No, the overhead on labor.
You're talking about burden?
Yeah, well, burden, if you call it.
49% is typical. Yes, sir.
48 on here.
Yeah.
And we ran into an issue before where the billing department billed it twice. Not yours.
No, I see how that could happen.
That wouldn't happen again. In other words, it goes for it, they pay somebody $1 million. We add $480,000 to cover vacation benefits and time off and all that stuff.
Yep.
Social Security, all that. And then they multiply all that by 48%.
Yeah, I would like to quickly say, and we didn't make that mistake, but I would say that we certainly could. So let me just say that for us, and I'll even speak for Bill, even though he probably won't like it, but I'll say it. I'll do it anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna speak for you, Bill. So like, if there's a mistake in a billing like that, I can almost guarantee you that the CM did not do that on purpose. Like there is so much going on. There's how many pages of backup is it for?
This month it's 270.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that my team strive to only charge for what is absolutely appropriate. Do things get through sometimes that aren't? Sure, it happens. And that's why the district's really good at reviewing that and saying, hey, you charged for, I was going to make a joke, but I don't know, you charge for, grill tongs or something. You don't pay for those. And so we'll take it off, right? We did
actually, excuse me, there was actually a real example of that last month.
Perfect. And we're taking it off, right?
Comcast bill. We accidentally billed twice.
There you go.
For a Comcast bill.
But
And now this month, it was picked up, we acknowledged it, and now it's getting credited back.
Right.
this has to do with the billing department. It's not about the intent of the contract. The billing department don't know that you don't multiply by twice. They bill or multiply by twice, basically almost half again as much as you should have cost. The school district didn't catch it. We caught it.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up giving the money back.
Makes sense.
Just what you said, but it had to be pointed out. Billing departments don't understand it, and the invoicing departments didn't catch it.
Makes sense. Yes, sir.
It goes through, just money spent. I just wanted to have some confidence that's not happening. You're saying.
It doesn't happen. We typically do internal audits on things like that. And you can quickly add up somebody's time and how much they're getting paid and then multiply it by the burden rate and know that that's either darn close to what you're billing and, or right on the money. And we do those kinds of checks. I mean, we don't strive to in any way make those errors. We do have internal things that check that. It's just, there's always, with that much information, there's always chance for mistake. And
Error happens in accounting system.
yeah. And I will say that for what it's worth, I mean, I work with a lot of clients across the state, and the district's doing a really good job of thoroughly reviewing, because it takes a little bit of a village. It's such a big effort, and they do a really good job of checking and asking the right questions. I mean, for what it's worth, it's a good process.
And I'll even add to that, as a project manager, I'm creating the pay apps. I'm looking at the numbers monthly, some numbers are for certain line items are the same every month. So when I do a quick just glance review and I see some number has some large percentage that went up, I'm going to figure out why.
And do you apply the burdens, or is that done by the?
No, that's actually built in.
The accounting software, the accounting, right. So when he charges an hour, it charges for the dollar rate that he's paid times burden, and it's broken out in the report. So
GC numbers in your GMP are burdened.
the staffing positions are burdened. The stuff that's not yes sir. And then there's a qualification that tells the percentage, and I'm 99.99% sure it's 49%. Yes, sir.
Thank you, that's comforting.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Yeah, you're gonna send out the revised.
Yes, and I do apologize for that. I will have that to JD tomorrow. Is that okay? Okay, my apologies, and it's always a pleasure. Thanks, guys. I mean, get to update you on the job at least, and hopefully you will come by and see Kelly Palatka Primary.
But can you just change the form I've been asking, so the contract?
What you need? Show me what you need.
The contract sum 57 isn't the contract sum. That's what's left of the GMP, left you took off the material cost.
Bottom left.
Bottom left. I like to see this. That's what's quoted that.
So you want, I mean, that is,
I know people are mistaking that for,
how do you want it to show?
let me write it down.
Yeah, I can, it's no problem. All right, show it however you
So
want.
let's move to Melrose.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so I have an aerial video that I'd like to show you, and I think this will help with. Oh, introduce myself. Yes, sir. Okay, ready? All right. Good evening, everyone. Chris Shepard, Parish McCall. I have a video that I was going to show you if I can get this thing to work. Is that on the right screen? No? It's the water feature we're adding.
But we also have it. He's a force of nature as well.
This part out is gonna make me review. Go back to one and then go back to two.
It seems like the desktop's coming up, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Sir. Thank you.
See, that background's coming up.
Maybe we need to bring yours back up. All right.
Absolutely.
So it's not projecting his picture.
Yeah, you can go up.
It's ours.
While we're waiting on that.
No, I'm using the Windows.
You probably saw in the email that Miss Alice is transitioning to a different position.
Yeah.
And Lisa is going to be our new contact person.
I plugged it directly into the computer.
So when she gets that updated
Where's the projection thing at on the windows? Where I can project? And how the T is on this one? It's not projecting at all.
She's a professional
Okay.
balloon.
No, you're not.
It's on number 2. Yeah, what there was. Now it's back to it's just showing the other one. It's showing the background, but it's not showing his video.
Yes, I can see your mouse. Okay.
Any ideas?
Will the MacBook that's up there work? I don't know.
I've got the background of the computer on there. It's just his video's not showing up. Mm-hmm. He's got a stick in. We can see it on the computer, but it's not showing up on the screen.
That's such a great idea. They project everything.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing.
Duplicate.
No.
Yeah, it is. I just can't get the mouse to go there.
We've got a MacBook over there.
Oh,
Plus, yeah, I just don't know if it's.
okay.
Yeah. Be worth trying.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. And well, it's on extend. I need on duplicate. If I can't get the mouse to come on. Okay.
There it is.
I got it.
All right.
Hey,
Excellent.
sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this video was shot yesterday, yesterday morning, and we distributed it to the principal out there. She needed it as an aid, but just to give you orientation, so you've got 21 and 26. So what you're looking at is the north side of campus. We've paved a temporary parking lot. I say it's temporary. It's actually finally paved. So on the right side, coming up 21, is the new parking and queuing loop. The building in the front is the new admin media, and obviously that's the building that it started first. That took over the place of Building 1, which was demolished in March. And right behind it is the classroom building, and over to the left is the cafeteria. So let me look at, while you're watching that video, I'll just run through some schedule updates. Okay, so admin media, as you can see, the foundation, the CMU walls, the slab, nearly complete. I've got it on here that it was complete. I believe 7:31. I think that was a typo. 8:31. We're going to pour the rake beams coming up, and then we've got truss and deck coming in 9:18. We've got hollow core plank scheduled currently for August 10th. The classroom building, which is currently showing right now, so they're currently working on underground utility rough-in, the foundation and stem wall and starter course for the brick has started behind admin media, so that is delayed behind admin media by about a month and a half. And we are just now starting on the cafeteria building. So as soon as school let out for the summer, we got into building, I want to say 3, 7 is the cafeteria, and there was a portable. I believe only 2 of those buildings had asbestos in it. So we abated, and then we demolished the building, and then graded out, and we worked on the building pad. So currently they're surveying out the corners, and we're going to start coming out of the ground here with foundation and underground rough-in within the next few weeks. So with school starting on Monday, the fence is back up. We had a portion of it taken down as we were working through the interior of campus. So fence all along 21 and then 26. all the way to that parking loop. And then we've got some additional fencing that's installed back behind the gymnasium. We've got some areas where we've got some temporary sidewalks that we put in. We've got, as you know, with these renovation, with these active campus projects, we've got to continue to shift around our routes. So we've got some temporary protected pedestrian walkways, scaffolding with protection overhead. So building 5 and 6, as you can see back there, are still existing. Over the summer, we renovated building 14, 15, 16 in the back. So they've all got brand new roofs on it. We added insulation. We did an interior renovation. I say light. We didn't do any flooring, but we painted the interior. We replaced the ceiling, the fans. We cut in a couple new doors into restrooms, new epoxy flooring, paint on the interior and the exterior of those buildings, and those are ready to be opened back up for the fall semester coming up on Monday. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, they did. There's some cracking on the sidewalk outside, but it's superficial. I mean, they were poured separately, but the foundation is solid out there. Now, the gymnasium, I just had a pre-bid meeting out on site, and that gymnasium was built in 1928. So, I mean, it's got some settlement. The structural engineer went out there and did some analysis. He gave his recommendation. So I've met with a couple foundation remediation companies and awaiting on their recommendation of what their fix would be. So helical piles, and they've got some other system that's going to be on the interior, but helical piles it seems like may be appropriate around the exterior of the building. No, sir. That wasn't actually allowance. So, you know, I don't want to say unlike James and his team, this project was pretty heavy with allowances because we knew that there was going to be a lot of things coming up. Yeah. So, as we've started chipping away at this, ASI number 1, ASI number 2, ASI number 3, the gymnasium, the playground, we carried allowances in the GMP for that.
There was about $4 million.
I think they're a little better than 7 million. 7 million. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, okay, I think we've seen enough of this. So I'll go ahead and pause. It kind of just repeats and it's additional flyover. So thank you for your time. Yes, ma'am.
All the different building numbers that you're mentioning, do you have a map or a site plan or something of the building numbers of the old buildings and the ones that you're now building?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Is that something that you would like for me to provide? In the construction documents, they do have an overall, and I still get confused. I mean, there's so many buildings out there, and when I call them out, I know that nobody,
There used to be.
Yeah, there used to be. A lot of them have been taken down, but I could definitely provide that to you.
Yeah, if you could just email it to the district and
Yeah.
they could send it out to us or you.
Absolutely.
You want to lay out what the school was and what it's going to be?
Yeah,
I just want to
with
be
like
sure.
some numbers.
With the
around
building.
there.
Yeah.
On the, it was just recently your podcast was released, but can you talk a little bit about how you had to move the utilities in certain buildings to work
Yes, sir.
during school, and then you're gonna move them again, the way the wiring does? I don't understand it.
Yes, sir. It was a lot of work. Again, there was allowances carried in the GMP for, subsurface utility relocation, unknown. I believe we carried $400,000. But we got started out there, I'm going to say at the very end of November. And going into the winter break, we had to relocate utility because of how the campus is fed, not just with power, but fire alarm, intercom, and our fiber. So the first effort was to relocate everything out of Building 1, which is the building that was, I believe it was built in 1946. So it was the one right there on the corner, and that's where the new admin media went. So a lot of the infrastructure went into that building. So we relocated all of that over into Building 16, and that's on the back side of campus. That's one of the buildings that was renovated over closest to 21. So we had to pull power from one because it was also feeding, I believe, admin and the gymnasium. So rerouted that and then rerouted all the fiber, fire alarm, and everything back to 16. So now that feeds all of campus. When we took down building 3, which is over on the east side, and building 7 was the cafeteria, I believe, or I may be getting those mixed up. I think 7 was the computer lab. We had to relocate all those as well. We'll have to do it again, but in the past few weeks, we've actually had to reestablish connection for the new portables we brought out there to take the place of the buildings that we took down, for fiber intercom and the enhanced audio. It went as well as to be expected, and then you go into testing. And then once we test the system, some of the blue lights weren't coming on because we had a broken connection in the fiber. So those have all been tested. And I believe we just put up a new camera on the north side of the gymnasium because there was an old camera on the front of building 1, or maybe on the current admin that can no longer see the front of the campus. So it went well, but it was tedious. We had quite a few directional bores, especially with the new transformer coming on site. And we had to set that because the old transformer was in the footprint of the new admin media. So the new transformer is sitting out front of the building. So if you're looking at admin media, it's just to the east of that, and it's in front of the existing admin building. So as you walk west of the cafeteria under that walkway canopy, if you're heading to the old admin, it's right there on the right. It's within our fence compound, but it's right at the front of the school. And part of that is access for Clay Electric. They have to be able to get a truck back there, so it has to be accessible. And it was also coming off of 26. So there is an existing transformer that is over on the east side of campus, and it's down further towards the south of campus. And that was another challenge because that feeds some, and the new transformer feeds others. And then how we establish what buildings and what systems are going to be on emergency power.
As far as you can tell on the timeline, has anything changed?
No, the only thing that's really changed is we pushed the classroom build back a little bit. Originally, we were only going to stagger it by a couple weeks. Now we've staggered it by about a month and a half. That's really been the only big change. There was some additional work that we took over this summer rather than later in the project. So we kind of lost some and we gained some. So
Will you be able to put students in like a new building or two during the school year, or are you going to leave it the way it is until?
the way it is. So the renovated buildings 14, 15, 16 on the backside of campus, those have been renovated. They will work out of those classrooms. And then I believe it's building 5, which is on the backside of admin. They have converted, I believe that's going to be the computer lab for the time being. And then we brought in 2 portables that came from Kelly Smith. And those are set up along with building 6, which is over on the east side, southeast side of the gymnasium.
This school year, once they get used to it, it's not going to change for them.
Correct. Now, admin media and the classroom building, we anticipate turning those over in, it might be towards the end of the semester in 27. So we're looking like March, April of 2027. But that's really going to be up to, is it the appropriate time to really move them for a few weeks or a month or something like that? But yeah.
Okay, probably leave it the way it is.
Yes. Okay. So that was the schedule update, and I'll do the same apology as James Marini. I see that I may have a typo error here. So on the GMP cost versus actual, I calculated GMP and build, but remaining, I didn't calculate that. So that should be 29,272,298, I believe. So we've billed 6,537,464. I tried to put I tried to clarify because I know ODP, like James said, is always a bit of a complication of what the district is actually paying, what is the project paying, and where do we end up. So I gave a little calculation at the bottom. So to date, our net change orders has been 29,097,614.84. So that was our GMP one, which established our contract, which was 1.765 million. And then we had ERP 2, which is GMP 2, and then GMP 3. And then we've had 2 ODP change orders. So change order 1 and change order 2 were adds for our GMPs as we built up to the total amount. And then owner change order number 3 and 4 were ODP change orders. So we're changing the contract value. We've got 32 POs to date. We actually have 37. We just haven't issued the change orders for those yet. So 294,443 in tax savings. Currently, we're anticipating 330,000 in tax savings. We've billed approximately, we're about 25% complete, and that's through application for payment number 8. My general conditions, what I'm showing down here and what I've done is I've included general conditions along with insurance bonds. So that's why that number is a little bit larger, and I could break that out for future. Sub values, 18,155,000, but these numbers are a bit skewed because I've also got allowance dollars. If you look at the pay app, I've really got about 5 pages of allowances that I track, and every single time that we're making a move, I'll pull from that allowance value and I'll drop it down in the schedule of values under the subcontracts line. So that subcontract value is a bit of a moving target because as we pull from allowances, that subcontract value is going to continue to grow, and then it's going to continue to decrease through ODP POs. Because we will pull that material from them, material and freight, and we will keep the tax savings within the project for use by the district. Okay.
On the allowances, you really don't wait to anticipate how much of that you're going to use going forward, or do you think the majority of those items have already been passed?
So,
Category 3 has been.
yeah, I would, until the project's done, I really don't, wouldn't want to say, but this was my beginning spreadsheet of all the allowances that we started off with. So everything's lined out, and this was transferred over to the schedule of values within the pay app. Currently, I want to say we're just north of $2 million spent in those allowances. So there's just shy of let's just say 5 million left in allowances. It's really hard to determine. I know Dr. Hunter asked last time about our lift station and the value that we had captured in allowance to pay for that lift station. So we were under that. We had 1.25 million in there for a generator, and that really all depends on what that's going to serve. That the cost of the generator actually came in significantly less than that 1.25. So I mean, you've got savings right there. And as we start or continue to define the scope of what is actually going to be purchased, we will know more. So, I mean, more of those allowances fall off and they can really go over into the savings category. But until we get through everything, we've got all the subcontracts issued with the exception of 2. So we still need to sign up the playground sub, and then the gymnasium, the foundation, and any kind of flooring remediation we need to do because that flooring was put in, I want to say 3 years ago. So it's a new floor, but if any of it buckles, we've got an allowance set aside for that as well.
For me, that's not in the construction business at all. Is it safe to say that once an allowance moves to the next category, to the where you say it moves to?
So I said it would move like over into the savings fund. So once that line in the schedule of values or in our allowance spreadsheet, once we move past it, it kind of just sits there and we don't touch it. But, as more things come about, it's okay, well, what was this allowance truly for? It's called out specifically for a generator. Let's just say we spent 800,000 of a 1.25 million. That line, won't be touched unless the district tells us use that for X, Y, and Z.
It's safe to say an allowance, so the generator, for example, it was allowance for 1.2, you spend 800. Now the 800 is the hard cost.
Yes, sir.
And the 400 is not an unknown anymore.
Yes. Correct. Correct.
Could sit in the balance of that unused allowance, or ultimately it could move into contingency, and at the end of the job, it could move back to the owner's side of the ledger if it's unused.
Makes sense.
Tom said it right, though. If it moves categories in a major way, it's got to be included. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But I was going to commend you on your numbers, actually.
I shouldn't have said anything then. Hey, I wanted to fall on the start. I didn't want to.
This is what I think we really need, but the only difference is, and you pointed something out, they don't quite agree with the GMP.
Yep.
But the idea of having the GMP number be a number, and then how much was actually used and what the remaining is what we need to know. And you got that all the way down. But you explained the contingency is not really the contingency. Did you add something to contingency to make this number?
So it's funny you asked that, because the allowances, since we had so many funds, so there's allowances, we've got some construction aids, there's escalation allowance. So on one spreadsheet in the schedule of values, I've tried to match the GMP to a T. And then when you recreate, this, you kind of, okay, well, I'm going to move this over. Everything's tracked. It's a matter of how we're presenting it. So some of these numbers are off. I mean, I'm even going through this and be like, okay. So that's why I brought, I've got a.
But you explained you put bonds in with
Yes, sir.
What? You just label it Oversight. This to me, this is the right formula. What the original number was, I'm trying to keep it constant.
Yes, sir.
And then how much is spent, how much is left in dollars. We can calculate the percentages.
Yes, sir.
But so the reason the contingency doesn't match is we've got some things going on that.
I'm gonna need to go and check against my pay app, because the GMP, what we had in there for contingency in the GMP, and I can tell you in just 1 second.
Wonderful. 1254.
1254. See, I've gotten this 1427332 and CM contingency.
But the way you got a GMP, you did some adjustment in the GMP after you got it over moving, so it could easily be. You've got a GMP with the school district that says 14335. You got that. That's pretty.
I will take your word for
it. Track the rest of it.
Yes.
Any other questions on Melrose?
Same two questions. What's your burden?
So it is.
Call it burden. Other people call it.
No, it's burden. So I'll let Bill answer that. It's different from
the typical range of burden that we experience is between 45 and 49%. When we do our pay applications, the project managers will come to me and ask for what the rate is for each individual person, and I'll get that from our accounting department, because everybody's burden rate is slightly different, and I provide those hourly rates for the project managers to use for the accounting. So it's not a one-size-fits-all exact number. Everybody has a different burden rate.
In the range.
But it's in that range.
So
yes,
the
sir.
second question is, how are you sure that the compensation to the individuals is an actual cost, is what you just said?
Yes.
You get those numbers when you put together the bill.
Right. We have an individual spreadsheet for every employee that shows their pay and then any benefits they get, and then it comes down to what their burden rate is.
I said some people get more vacation than others.
Right.
And no one knows.
Right.
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 And I
County's part.
Except the
And Bill.
And I've actually, I'll go through and periodically check our rates, and I've went through and adjusted our rates. I mean, sometime they'll go down, and I'll give money back, in a pay app and credit that line, because it's just it fluctuates ever.
No, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And related question to the last one. You do have an escalation fee?
Yes, it was like 153.
One fifty-three, I had 139, but you do have it at this point.
Well, we had 139 maybe GMP3. So I'm adding I am adding GMP 1, 2, and 3 all together, and that's what that spreadsheet as I combined everything. So I want to say
Combined, it's okay, got it. But if the same rules apply, you'll use that as a kind of load to make the subs pay attention, and then you'll not use it unless you have to, but if you have to use it, just submit it back to the district and they will change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, about the cypress trees. Sorry, I wasn't here at the last meeting. Could you quickly go over what happened to the cypress trees?
So before the project started, we had identified on our site plan of all the trees that were going to be removed, and we requested from our whoever our site work sub was going to be. It was either going to be our site work sub or our demolition contractor that was going to take them down. We asked them to salvage those trees as much as they could salvage. So we asked for the lower 14 feet. Once you get up top, there's really not much you can do with them. So we have sent those to a mill to get milled, kiln dried, and find out what our yield is on that cypress material to be able to do something for the school. Whether that be, currently we've been talking about a conference table. It all really depends on how much lumber we can actually get out of those trees. But those cypress trees did not go to the landfill. They went to a mill to get milled and used.
But they can be turned into more than one table. That's good that thank you for using them.
Yes. Well, you're welcome. In all honesty, and I was kind of surprised too at how much yield you can actually get from a tree, how big they have to be, and what you can actually use out of them. That there wasn't that much that came out of those. I think there were 12 trees that we took down, and it all depends on the diameter of those trees and what you can actually harvest from those. So I was hopeful in the beginning of, a few items, but we'll see where it finally ends up at. Yes, ma'am.
Cypress trees grow in water. If you took this, or in swampland, if you took the cypress trees out, what's where they were, and how did you drain it?
Okay, so I am not an arborist or a tree expert. I do know that cypress trees, I believe most grow in water. So there was a retention pond there.
Retention pond?
A retention pond, yes, ma'am. And I believe that the storm line was either pitched incorrectly from the get-go. So the civil engineer, what has happened is, I believe we've got 8 storm structures that pick everything up. So starting in that parking lot that you saw that was paved, so that picks up the first one. It kind of rolls around the west side of the site. So that is going to be a parking lot, but there is a storm structure under there with RCP, reinforced concrete pipe, that carries everything down to the south retention ponds. We've added one retention pond and we've expanded another one down there.
Water management require you to mitigate and remove the cypress trees in that area?
No, ma'am, I do not. I'm sorry?
Did they know you did it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We've got a pond, not necessarily a natural.
Years ago.
Yes. Or a detention pond, yes.
The water and push it out there on the DOT right away, and nobody said anything. Now, every drop of water that falls on our project, we've got to hang on to it.
Exactly.
That's why you go to the new primary school. There's, I think, 6 different retention ponds on that project now, because we have to keep every drop of water on site.
So there is a problem with the DOT ditch. The water rushes down and floods the next Cooper Lane, I think. So is any of the work that you're doing going to help that?
No, we only had a little bit of FDOT work, and that was really just our cut-in drive on the north at 26. Other than that, we don't have any DOT work per se. So I don't know if anything that Kimley Horn, the civil engineer, has done is going to mitigate any of those issues. I don't believe so. But no, we don't have anything beyond our project site, and we really don't touch the roadway.
Is there any water from the school site going into that ditch originally that you've now changed to the retention pond?
If there was overflow out of that small pond out front, it would have gone out there. But like you said, it couldn't have gone too far because that DOT ditch on 21 is full, and it's been full for years. I mean, we're probably helping it by not discharging water at all, if we can't put anything out there.
Is this ditch you're referring to on the school side, or is this on the north side of 26?
It's on 21.
It's on 21.
It's the side of 21 right outside our construction fence.
Okay.
The state has a bunch of different pipes come together.
Okay.
Thankfully, it's not a project.
Okay. So we, I would hope that some of what we're doing is going to alleviate some of those issues. We do have a structure right in the drive lane as you pull in from 21 into campus. There's a storm structure there, but nothing beyond that, nothing down the ditch. There are another few storm structures as it leads down to the retention pond. I believe one, the new one we built, and then it all empties down on the south side of the project. And we've expanded the retention pond, or in the process of expanding the retention pond down on the south side.
Have you ever contacted that DOT on that issue personally?
I think not me, but a lot of other people have
I'm just wondering
for
if
many,
maybe,
many years. And it's not a big enough deal for them to mess with it.
I'm just wondering because of what's going on, if they lane, but if they could somehow piggyback on the construction to be there.
Now everything we're capturing is bigger than capturing and putting it in all on our site, so I think it should be better.
And
A few times
I'd really like
FDOT
engineer to answer that question. I mean, they would have a better response. But yeah, I agree with you.
What I like about this project is it's a reflection of the wishes of that community. Done their best to keep the integrity of what was there with what they had. I think everyone's making that effort. It's a
Except for the
smaller school.
1926 building.
but
Yes.
The community deserves this. It costs more to build a smaller school per person, but it's what Melrose needs and what they want. We as a school district are able to accommodate that. I'm proud of that.
Just cut the one thing, change the subject. Your GMP number made the assumption that the savings from the ODBs is in there, right?
I believe in the GMP, we gave an anticipated percentage. I believe 1%. I don't believe we did what Ajax did, and and assume that we were going to save the district X amount of dollars. I believe we put 1% in there was going to be our goal, but it was not part of our GMP.
Now, that means when you make a reduction because of materials, like say $1 million for materials.
Yes, sir.
You have to also reduce what the tax is.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And do the accounting people know that? Otherwise, you lose credit for it if you don't do it that way. In other words, you had a higher GMP, and you made an assumption to be 1%.
Yes.
If you do what Ajax did, then you just needed that because of materials each time. Because you've already taken the tax savings off the GMP. But you can't leave it in the GMP.
Right. It does get complicated because you still, even in Ajax's scenario, if you build in a $1 million, you still have to track it because you might come under, you might go over. In our instance, you're right. Any materials that are coming out of our contract, tax is coming out as well.
Well, now,
When we track that,
you know that, but does the steward know that?
I'm on their finger. What?
Yeah.
I'm always on.
Think of it this way. In their bid, they'd say bid $100 million. And then in that $100 million, they had allowed for the tax being paid for the materials. And then they come along after that. They come back later and say, we have $10 million worth of materials. We're going to subtract. You got to subtract the tax on the $10 million also. Because otherwise, you leave it in the GMP, it becomes profit for the contract. Now, if you don't take both out, you end up transferring your money back to the contractor. If you don't take the tax out when you take that, because they, he said they take.
They're not billing for that seven, that may be something Jonathan, they're not billing for that 7% though.
Right.
Yeah.
But the GMP goes, stays up, it stays in the GMP.
It does, but in a line item in the application for payment, the categories that we're billing against. I mean, you're only billing against the overhead and profit that was established in the GMP. Tax savings is a completely separate category. I mean, there should be no way that we could ever bill anything more than the established OH&P, and the savings would be returned to the district.
Well, what about there's a $10 million material charge that you didn't pay 7% tax on.
Okay.
Can't leave that 7% in the GMP. You have to subtract that from the GMP as well.
It gets removed.
Yeah.
If it gets returned to the district.
Right.
It's all of those are sent to the board as well.
Right, do they include the tax?
It shows as the tax savings.
No.
Some of our change orders shows a reduction.
If there's a $10 million material bill, will it show $10 million plus 7%?
As far as our accounting system?
Yeah. In other words, you have to make a reduction in the GMP of the taxation, because they didn't do it a priori, like Ajax did.
So at the end of it, as far as in our accounting system, you would just show the charge, but at the end of it, basically, if it's a 60, I know this one's 35, 8, so we'll just say 35 even. If it's 35 even, and we save a total of, what's it, 400, 300,000 right now,
Yeah.
then at the end of the project, that 300,000 still would be sitting there. There would need to be, if it hasn't already been done, there would need to be a WP change that would then free up that money for the district to then turn around and use on one of the renovations.
I understand, but that's not really my point. My point is when you take the material costs out, that means the tax doesn't get deducted from the GMP. And just think in the limit, if you took 90% of materials, you'd leave, the GMP would stay big. And the GMP has to be reduced by the tax as well, because they've included the tax in their GMP.
And we would do a final reconciliation.
But otherwise, you're moving the money over to the contractor. The tax saving goes to the contractor, not to the district.
Tax savings never goes to the
Yeah,
contractor.
there's no tax paid, so they're
Never
only
billed
paying
for it.
the
No,
cost of material.
Think about it.
I know.
The GMP is there. That money goes to the contractor. They'll bill it.
Not if they're doing the direct purchase. You're only billing for the actual material.
But they included the tax on those materials in their GMP.
Correct, but that's not.
But
what
they're saying
paying.
they see that and if we return to them.
There'll be residual dollars. when
You're
it's
answering
done.
that question. He's got it right. When they bill it, they'll bill $10 million of materials plus 7%.
Okay, so let's settle. If they understand it and Jonathan understands it, then we're good, right? That was your
I
question.
don't think both parties understand.
I think it'd be.
In other words, you're transferring money over to the general contractor, to the construction manager, if you don't subtract both the tax.
You're not transferring money. They're actually sending bill to the district.
I know, but they will bill the rest of the GMP.
No, they will not. It has it right here. The tax savings so far is $300,000.
Okay. If they don't bill it, no problem.
Are you going to send us a bill for $300,000?
No. No, we're going to have a final reconciliation change order at the end of the project to return
GMP by that amount.
buyout. Yes.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So anything left over in allowances, buyout savings, CM contingency, tax savings, escalation, like all that
To the board.
will be returned.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, are we done?
I think so.
I'm done with this.
If you guys are done, we're done.
Jonathan, your turn.
Very good report, guys.
Thank you all.
Got it out of order.
Good job. We're going through there for this paper.
No, I'm going to summarize. Jonathan, is that all right if I take a shot at the, Here. You can take a shot at the No, on arbitrage. All right, so I'm going to summarize arbitrage. We've been waiting on this report for months. For those of y'all that don't recall, essentially, when the money comes in from the bonds, it sits in an account with wording. And we're not allowed to earn more interest than we're going to be paying, receiving of the bonds as people buy them and pay us back. So this report, it took a little while to get. And we did earn, the district earned more money than we should have. It's not a terrible thing. But I asked Jonathan a few questions, so hopefully these are the major questions, unless you actually read all 19 pages of this. So we will eventually have to file this with the IRS, and we owe the difference. So is it 2 million?
It's 1.9 and change.
1.9 is the amount that we earned more than we should have in the IRS's eyes. We have 5 years to pay it. The consultant that put this together recommends not waiting the 5 years and paying it a little bit at a time. There's also some things that we can get credit for, so that bill is not so high. We can get into that detail if you want. I asked what we paid for this report is $4,800, but it's $1,600 per year that they had to do. So that's why it's $4,800. And one of the big questions I had is, and this for clarification for us, is how do we keep this from happening? There's not a real good answer other than if we don't earn interest, then we don't have more interest than we should make. But to Jonathan's point in his response is, we make too much, we have to pay some of it back essentially. But if we don't earn anything, then that's money that we've given away. And we should try to earn as much as possible safely while we have it. And then hopefully some of these exemptions will come into play and we won't have to pay. You want to go into the exemptions? I didn't read that.
What was it?
Overview.
Let me pull up. I didn't actually print that one out. I did send it in email though. So there's several, the way they explain it is you have purchasing thresholds that have to happen at 6, 12, 18 months, and the project has to be done within 2 years. So basically, for us to possibly be eligible to not pay some of this and I'll say 2 million because it is right up under it. Some of this $2 million is they have to finish the job within 2 years, start to finish. From there, then you go and look at thresholds every 6 months. Now, the thresholds, I'm not very familiar with them because I actually spoke with Hilltop today and brought up all the questions that Jared sent me and then asked a few of my own because I figured once I did, y'all might have a few more questions as far as the exceptions and everything, especially when they said the 2-year comment. If a project's done within 2 years, then we're eligible for it, because I also then talked to him and he said we might have one project currently that's eligible to be done in 2 years if everything, continues to go smooth. So essentially I would have to work with or speak with Hilltop to understand what the true thresholds are for the 6, 12, and 18 months. But the first threshold you're looking at is the project is done within 2 years. Talking with JD, the current time frame, the only school we'd be looking at that for is Placa Primary, because they're mowing and going right now. So if that gets there, when we go and do the arbitrage report they're using funds from the second and third issuance. So when we do those arbitrage reports, that would then be something I let Hilltop know, hey, we finished a project within 2 years. What are we looking at as far as the possibility of getting exceptions?
Real quick on that point, if I could ask a question. So it's per project, not per project meaning the whole schools?
Correct. It's per site. So as of right now, we know the 2 schools opening this year aren't eligible.
So that's the way it's written.
Did they roll the 2 years?
Yeah, when you look at start to finish, like the Black Intermediate, that project started with us taking the E.H. Miller School, which was sitting dormant, demoing it. There was a lot of pieces
in that, and then Middleton Burney was very similar. We had a green space area. We started down there. It's taken a little bit longer. It's actually, I hadn't told you, but I was just talking about the Palaca Primary School as well as probably Melrose Elementary. If we don't have hurricanes and issues, they could be there. We could have two. I didn't know that we could get Melrose done in time. But yeah, there's the first two projects took a little longer.
Does it start when the bond started? When we invested the money? The day we invested the money?
No, this is per site. This will be per project. So
We only had the money when we got the money.
Right, this is related to
So-
the interest.
this is related to the interest. So there's another aspect of it as far as like the 100 million we pulled down. So the 100 million we just pulled down, we have to have 85% of it spent by the end of July 2029. I believe if nothing's changed, we're going to be projected to spend all of it before then.
Overall, we've earned more than 15 million in interest.
Yep, and this doesn't include last month, but yes.
I don't hear that well, but it sounds like we earned too much interest.
Right.
We did.
So that is, and that was kind of what he alluded to when I made the reply is right now to get this calculation done, it's costing us $1,600. And one of the questions was, well, how do we manage this so it doesn't happen? So we don't have to pay anything back.
Okay.
In order to properly manage that, I would need to make sure we collect enough interest, but within $1,600 to make it worth the time, within $1,600 per year of what it costs us to do the arbitrage. Otherwise, it just makes more sense to collect as much as possible and pay back what we shouldn't have got.
Where's the money gonna come from to pay the tax?
The interest, right out of the interest. It is still sitting there collecting more interest.
Oh, okay. And if you, on his report, we have on page 4 of 19, there's a lot more detail after that, but page 4, for the time period that this report covers, we earned $6.7 million in interest in money that's sitting, and the allowable amount was $4.7 million. Okay. So that's where the number comes from. So the money's still sitting there. We just may have to send it to the IRS.
And that they go through this whole report for each arbitrage rebate. We're going to get a report just like this. This one was 19 pages. And it goes in detail on what everything is. There is if you look at the very back page.
Another question. We've had 3 different sales of bonds, and they total $307.5 million. Where is that? But the total bond was 300 million. Where's that 7.5 come from?
So the buyers are giving us extra money because they want it. They're going to make money off of this too. Plenty of it. So they're willing.
That'd be the case.
They're willing to pay more.
Yeah. And actually,
The money
where did you
we're
get?
sitting somewhere? What interest rate are we getting?
Right this past week, it's fluctuated. I mean, for actually like the past month or so, it's fluctuated right around 4%. It'll drop. I think the lowest I've seen is 3.97%, and it keeps going back up above.
That's good.
And it was, during this time period of this report, interest rates were higher.
Yeah, when it
Earning more.
yeah. I mean, we were talking about up around 5%.
Do you have to calculate this by each year? I mean, like the first year we earned so much interest and we earned over too much? Or is it just a total of the whole thing so far?
This is a total of the first issuance. So on this report, and they break it down, and they had plenty of questions for me that I had to answer. I want to say it's almost the last page, but there's a page that looks like this.
Yeah.
And it shows.
All right.
It starts with 100 million, and then it goes down and starts talking about the interest earned on each one.
Right.
So I mean, that page gives you a lot of information, and it's where they ultimately get their 6.7 versus 4.7.
Where can this money be used?
So, two things. It can go right back to what the voters elected.
Into the projects.
Into the projects. So it can either be used for that, or it can go to the payback. So at the end of the day, you have two options. You can't turn around and start doing anything else with it. We can't remodel here because we're not part of it. We're not a school, but
you can use it for a project.
yeah. So
then there's no penalty.
Correct.
Okay.
And the scope of.
Within the scope of what was voted on.
Right. Is the par value what we're paying for the bond, that is anything over that we pay the penalty? Any interest rate above the bond rate?
That's
basically it.
That's basically it.
You realize the reason is they don't want Rick to borrow $2 trillion.
Right.
They 3%, and we're going to invest at 5% because we're meeting the penalty.
What?
You could essentially keep doing what we're doing. We're making more than we're paying out, and then just take all the money and pay it back. Exactly.
Yeah.
Made $2 million.
Well, and I even point blank, just in case, I point blank asked, knowing the answer, we can't pay, or we can't take this 1.9 and put it straight towards the payment. And of course, the answer is no, because of exactly what he just said.
But can we use it to, I hate to bring this up, but I know John would like, can we use it to offset the tax collector's fees?
Okay. So we thought this was going to come up. So there is good news on that front.
Oh, no, I mean, this money, but could we use it for that? Could we say we had to pay tax collector?
Okay, so to address that aspect, so when the tax collector first started taking commission, that first year it wasn't planned for. We had to pay it. That's straight out of general fund. The second and third year, we incorporated it into this because we are allowed to do that. Now, it's not a school district aspect at all. That is a board of county commissioners fee they have to pay. And so it will not affect, it's going to amount for the next 27 years that we are not paying 375 to 400,000 in commissions. I gave y'all one time, the overall number was going to be like 11.2 or $3 million. That is no longer going to be our responsibility.
Well, my question, for those 2 years that we did pay it, can we say that was a fee we paid to manage these projects? And did something
Use that toward the amount we owe.
Yeah,
we could ask it.
I mean, I would
doubt that's.
I would probably either reach out to PFM, our financial advisors that we had before the bond issuance, through the bond issuance, and still have after the final issuance. I would either ask them or go back to Hilltop and ask Hilltop.
We paid with it.
I will tell you, I can verify that, but I will tell you, it may not be on this other document, but I remember when I created, when I first started doing these little summaries for the other, I had tax commission broken out on there, and it was included with the other charges.
Yeah.
So it was on there.
Yeah, so
I will verify that to make sure we can leave it there, but I'm pretty sure we can.
we can explain the cost of these meetings.
Good question, man.
How much those sandwiches cost?
All right. I have some more questions if we're through with this.
Oh yeah, you go for it.
Related to the House Bill 7031E, will you explain that to us and how it relates to us as to the disposition of the money that has been taken from us thus far, yet that will stop. And then I want to know if this large bill, which is going to have to be rewritten, if that passes, how does that affect the school system?
Okay. So the original House bill you're referencing with the commission, at this point we are free and clear. Sorry. With the House bill you referenced with the commission, we are free and clear of the commission. We don't have to worry about that anymore as of right now. Unless something changes going forward, we're free and clear of that. So we don't have to worry about that. As for the property tax, that has to be rewritten. If it passes, We are currently the only, well, we're not, they included emergency services, but we are currently the main entity that is exempt.
Really, this omnibus bill that they're going to pass, and if it passes, really does not affect the school system, does it?
Currently, no. The way it will affect the school system is I'll use sheriffs and police officers. We currently pay a SO contract, and for ease of numbers, I'm going to say $1 million flat. We currently pay them $1 million flat. If they were to lose funding, they're going to start charging us 1.2, 1.3. They're going to ask for more money from us. So it will not affect us in the property taxes we get. It will affect us in the bills we pay for those services from those entities.
Okay. All right, I've done some research on this, and for the last, 3 years, the property collector has taken money from our bond money. Now, if I read the law, she had every right to do that. However, I asked myself, what did she do with that money? So I did a lot of research.
Same thing.
Basically, I have a handout. Basically, what she did, she gave her people a more than sizable raise. Over a 2-year period, she raised, on average, her employees $11,537. Now, if you'll turn the page, I did some more research. That brings Putnam County, on average, per employee, $35,260. Now, St. John's, theirs is at $35,000 to $39,000, depending on experience. She hasn't started paying on experience, apparently. I don't know if she has or not, but that's the average. Clay County, $35,000 to $50,000, depending on experience. Alachua County, $35,000 to $45,000, and Volusia, $35,000 to $50,000. So she's in the ballpark. And personally, I can't fault her for paying her people enough money that she can keep them. She's been training them, and then they're going to these other 3 counties. So I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, and you go back to the last question on the first page. It says, on top of all of this, the tax collectors, in the question is, what is going to happen to homestead exemption after the November ballot? And like you related to it, it's going to have some effect, but not a direct effect. So my point is, with all the above in mind, it's obvious why the tax collector will be reluctant to give up any source of revenue. This is really for the Board of County Commissioners, because it's off of our back now, isn't that right?
It is off of our back, and I will say there have been conversations where they reached out to us. I noticed on the top of this it says from John Newbold. He reached out to us and he had a conversation to see if we had any ideas, how our conversations went and stuff. So that all happened. And I do recall one thing we said in that meeting was it does make sense if she was getting her employees to where they should be. And if the data you provided here is accurate as you've done your research, it looks like she's got them there. And that does make sense. The language, I will say the language from what it was to what it is now is very clear now that she has a choice. But yes, that is not our ball game to fight.
That's not it. Now, if you'll turn the page, this is really interesting. This relates to the bill that's going to go on the ballot. A judge in Leon County said it's not neutral enough. It's advertising. You're going to get your homestead exemption done away with.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be so blatant. So all of this is in here, what the judge has said and what can happen. And it's a very short window they're going to have to rewrite this bill. But I know they got a bunch of good lawyers up there, and I'm sure they'll get it done in time. But it has to have 60% of voter approval. And Wayne, he's not so sure it's going to pass. I'll tell you, I think it's going to pass. I hate to say it, but.
So John, on the tax collector, are you already seeing they're not charging this? I know it's a slow time for collection of taxes.
Not yet, because we haven't received New Year's taxes. So, because it should be, I think, November when we get our first.
So at that point, we should know for sure that it's.
Yes, we'll need to double check it on our side, but they also, the way they send it, when they send our normal distributions, they actually include now, over the past 3 years, an extra attachment to it that has the commissions collected. And so we'll be looking that's no longer there because they shouldn't be taking anything else from us.
I think it would be appropriate if somebody from the school district didn't talk to her about it. I don't know who that maybe should be.
Went and talked to her about the commission in general?
Yeah, by law, she's not supposed to be doing it. As will she stop when the next time it's time to take money?
So your suggestion is just basically us making sure that she's aware that it's now the Board of County Commissioners.
Well, she's a good person. I don't think she's trying to do anything.
It's still a reasonable question. You remember the original one? It was supposed to be 3% personally nothing, and then 2% of everything else, and they charge 3% of everything. Just because clerk errors, with that, remind me.
Right. All right. Anything else on that report? I appreciate you doing that
No,
work.
that's all I have. But I think the judge's opinion here, that's good reading. You ought to go home and read that and see what it really is saying. And there's a lot of interesting language in that.
I had a related question, which I was going to ask just right now. At the current rate of collection, at the current mill rate that we have, for the assessed value that applies to us, are we collecting more money than we need to pay out in 30 years or less money? It's a pretty simple calculation. If we're collecting too much money, we can reduce the bill. If we're collecting not enough, we don't
Just presented that to the board.
Yes, I just presented that to the board, and so the answer to answer your question is no, we're not collecting more than we're supposed to. We're actually not allowed to do that. So I can't try to collect as much of the debt service now to pay it off early if I wanted to. And I explained it to the board as well. I have a calculation in there, and when I update the property values, and then I take the millage amount, it tells me how much that millage is going to collect. And so when I was at this point of it, I was literally sitting there going, at first I was doing 0.7650 as the mill amount for debt services, and that was like $1 million too much. And so I just kept lowering it by like 0.10 and then 0.01 until I got to the number that got us as close as possible to what we owe without going under.
But then we changed the millage of record?
as far as through
Like the newspaper.
trim. Well, yeah. So the newspaper advertisement that came out, before I sent that advertisement, I had updated that to what it should be. So
So the millage that we read in the newspaper is now the correct millage?
yes, the millage that was in the budget advertisement and that I sent an email earlier to be posted on our website as requested by the board, is accurate as far as all the millages go up top.
Look, if this bill passes, it's gonna be a $250,000 homestead exemption.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of the homes in Putnam County do you think that'll take off the tax revenue?
They've already done it.
So
It's 15-something million dollars that the county is going to lose out of the general fund.
They had, Mr. Davis, actually, when all of this first came out, they had the property appraisers across the state work up the numbers for all of the entities. And then in the middle of that process, it came out that we were exempt, so they didn't work up the numbers for us. But he sent that out to all of the local municipalities, showing what each one would specifically be affected by each year of the reduction. And I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know I got it in an email somewhere.
It's big.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the school system, in a sense, is insulated, but may not be totally insulated.
Right. Still services they have to pay for.
Yeah.
The other items you have in the packet are what I call the normal bond fund things. I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at. I did have one question, and it's just, there's I don't know what page I'm on.
What's the name?
Other category?
Yep.
With everything. There's the Greenberg and Brawley, which is, I know is an attorney for professional services. Do you know what they did? The other ones I know, because it's spelled out, all this is professional services.
That's good old Bob Gang. That's their flat fee for the.
They heard about it and sent it to us.
I thought he was disclosure counsel.
He is, well, hold on. What is Neighbors in Giblin? No. Neighbors in Giblin is the one that's been going back and forth at the disclosures at the end. Neighbors in Giblin is the one that's been going back and forth with me at the end. Bob Gang is with Greenberg Touring.
Oh, that is.
Yeah. Because Neighbors in Giblin is Ratish that I communicate with regularly. So I don't think he may have been on one of the meetings virtually before, but I don't think he was here.
I think it's a related question, what the chairman started with. It's the page before. These pages are numbered, so you have to one from the other. It's almost one of the questions I sent in, and that is, how much money do we have left? And this has the costs that we have today, as I understand it. But it doesn't have the cost we're committed to.
If you look at the other page in the bottom right corner, it'll say as of June 30th. As of June 30th. At the bottom, it says unencumbered balance of funds available. That is the untouched dollars right now.
That's not the question. The question is, that assumes Melrose at $6.9 million. We know Melrose is $35 million.
That is okay. You're asking for what's projected to be left afterwards.
Correct.
Okay, so this is what has actually happened as of June 30th. So I'm gonna give you a rough number because we went over this right before the final GMP was approved, and we estimated Melrose would be at 35 million, so it's 800,000 more. We were going to be sitting at around, it was 41 million, I believe, not including the interest. So including interest, it would be sitting currently at about 54 million left over, minus 2 million to arbitrage rebate.
Right. So in other words, you put the real cost that we expect we're going to pay, but we'll assume to pay most of the GMPs.
Yeah.
And subtract that away. That's how much is going to be left in our bank account. It's going to be what we said.
Yeah.
That's going to be for those last three projects.
remodels.
Remodel projects. But a couple comments about that. That's good. It's gonna be good to know before you commit to the project how much it really is. But on the other hand, I would sure encourage you to figure out ways to make sure you get competition and use of that money.
Yeah.
In other words, have people bid on the work.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, we had that conversation today, as a matter of fact.
Good.
All in all, a safe estimate would be around, we would have little over $55 million when these 4 projects are said and done. And we're looking at doing those renovations. And that number is based off the 41 million rough GMPs when Melrose wasn't finished yet. The 13 million in interest, 11.2 after the payment, and then whatever interest we get off of this final.
Is there a school we didn't do that we intended to do?
I don't think.
Now we're gonna do Jenkins Elementary, Browning Piers, and Aquittal.
Well, QI.
All renovations, but
You're doing QI Roberts too for an HVAC.
take one and build a new school.
It has to do with the custodian. Like, there's too many buildings, there's too many places on those 3 campuses that are not old enough for us to
I see.
take down and rebuild. So we have to do renovation on those 3.
Well, we originally thought we were going to do 6 schools.
That was before the
last
time. Right, I understand that, but there must have been 2 other schools that were going to do.
I'm sorry, what were the 3 that you mentioned?
Brown Piers, Aquila, and Jenkins Elementary. We were, I think in the original plan, I'd have to go back and look. We were hoping to be able to build a brand new one in East Palatka.
Oh, that's right.
That was part of our original plan.
I see.
And then that was, the decision was made after the cost of everything like doubled.
Oh, yeah, that's the price you pay.
That we, yes. So now it is renovation of those 3.
And those were in phase 3. Phase 3 originally was gonna be starting in what, 29, Jonathan?
Yes. Or was it 27?
And then we had to escalate it because we had to pay the backside of those earlier phases. We had to go ahead and draw down money.
Sure.
So we've escalated it.
Then my question was, if we were going to do 6, now we're going to do 7, but 3 are going to be renovations. Actually, 4, Melrose is kind of a renovation.
And you're doing a whole lot of new construction there.
Yeah.
There's more new construction than there is renovation.
Yes, there is. But the point is, it's an alternative strategy. Take the 55 million. I guess 55 is not enough to do another school. So why not use it the less way?
When we have those 3 schools, if we can't build, they all 3 need some major renovations done.
And they really can't be going down yet either.
There's too many places in it that's not.
Plus,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, plus I think, talking with Dr. Cersei, if we sell some of these surplus school properties,
Right.
that money would go to these projects, correct?
Right, it'd go in capital, which could be used for that. If you know
You got
anybody
a
want to
buyer?
buy an old school, just let us know.
good nursing home.
Yeah, I don't need the whole thing, but.
We can name it, hey, you be your nursing home.
I don't need one room.
Hunter Haven.
That's right. Save a room for me. Yeah. He'll be your roommate.
All of that stuff.
One room with 2 beds.
After this vote.
I'm not selling the properties around here.
In the little counties, they're gonna have a way to help these little counties.
Right. Somebody.
You take all that away from the county commissions are gonna be in trouble.
Little counties have little votes.
Yeah, we've talked about
There's gonna have to be
demolishing some of these old schools.
another way of compensating that difference.
Before the
Jenkins and James A. Long, James A. Long is vacant. They are still too new to do a total demolition.
Is that right?
Right.
Unless someone buys it.
Unless they buy it and tear it
Then
down.
right.
Then it's not a school.
Better make it
Just
green
makes it-
space.
yeah,
You couldn't do that.
Makes it more sellable
Right.
if you get rid of some of the.
Same thing with Miller in Crescent City.
Right.
You know, there's some new buildings there that we would not be able to demolish.
Any other comments from members?
Yeah, I have two questions, Rick. We didn't discuss, I gotta say this right, the River County, the black intermediate. Okay. Portland Club, right?
Yes.
We didn't discuss that, but one question is, get a final count of how much we paid, including furnishings. Did you have furnishings?
Yes.
And how much did they cost and where'd the money come from?
64, 870, 152, 73. $64,870,152.73 as of August 5th.
And that includes?
That's Palatka Intermediate. That is GMP.
Right.
And then your soft cost of FFD, architect engineering fees.
Doesn't sound like quite enough if the architect was $3.5 million. The GMP was 64. The architect alone was, well, we got some records that said $3.5 million for the architect, for Casper.
I will let you look at
Don't
her
you-
screens.
From Casper breakdown?
That's right.
For Palatka Intermediate, I believe it was, I can pull it up. 1.7 million.
Couple million, yeah. So the total cost is gonna be somewhere in the low sevens.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that we did at a board meeting where we explained that when we think about the cost of a project, it's more than just the construction.
Yeah.
For it to truly be turnkey and ready for students to go in and learn.
Yeah.
So there are additional costs. It's not part of that initial GMP, which is really all about the construction.
We pointed that out in our first meeting.
Yes.
And the question was, we still don't have the number yet.
There's-
So if somebody asks us, how much did that steel cost? We can't answer.
I can.
Right, the number you get can't quite be right.
That, well, as of, let's see, if this is from finance,
Well, the GMP was 60, we didn't spend it all, so 59. And the architect was 3.5. And he said the other, the furnishings were 2. And there were other costs.
yeah, I mean, the current grand total for Palatka Intermediate, and Kim sent this to me a couple of days ago, $64,870,152.73. So that's,
That includes furnishings and architect engineering and other software.
that, right, that's also your fixtures, furnishings and equipment, that's your branding, that's your, they get a classroom like a flag and trash cans, and it's all of the things.
That was a question, $18,000.
Yeah, it's crazy, it's crazy when you start adding up and getting,
Can she send us a copy of that? So we have it for our records. I think
Yes.
we've got to be able to tell people how much the school costs.
yes.
All right, one other item on our agenda is Jackie Porter has resigned from our committee. Her mother is needing some help from her, so she's not able to participate. Phil Larry was the person that appointed her, so he is aware, and he will recommend someone for our committee. He's talked to you, though, correct? Or, I think you were on the email.
He has the email, but
Yeah.
I plan to have Lisa follow up with
Gotcha.
him tomorrow to
Okay.
say it's official because
Okay.
you know, express it to the group.
Okay. Have any public other than us?
I did want to say, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask a similar question. Going back and looking at the cost of the black intermediate, there is a question of whether, how much profit did we pay to Broadway? Since the cost was less than the GMP, they're only entitled to 4.5% of the actual cost, not of the GMP. Question is what we would pay. What we should have paid, we paid the whole, and so they spent the whole amount. That's one question. And the other was on Casper. They evidently billed, they had 5.5% limit on what they can charge. And that would have been 3.3 million, and they charge evidently 3.8. So the question is, if that's really all correct, how are we authorizing those things? For instance, the profit is an easy thing to check and see what we actually paid. They're invoicing this profit.
So when invoices come to us, it's been going through Kim and Mandy, and it's at the new year, and basically they verify everything, and it was going up the chain. And now it goes through Lisa and you to verify. What's happening is actually in the GMP before it gets all those signatures, before it comes to us, and your question more specifically is verifying you haven't paid Osley too much, right?
Yeah, one on profit. They have a profit of 4.5% of the actual cost.
I'll have to go back, because there's some,
Look back at that.
yeah, there's some items that are marked, there's two percentages that some things are marked up. Because there's one of them, we dealt with that when I first came into the job, there's some. Yeah, we'll look at it, because one of them was the bigger percentage we checked, we had them adjusted on several of them, which.
Casper appears to have a higher percentage, that's a different question, but the question of profit is, it's $50,000 or so. And the question is, did someone account for the fact that the cost was $1 million less? Because it's a percent of cost, not a percent of GMV. If you check it, someone would check it.
On Black Intermediate, there are still, I mean, in that total that I gave you, but there's still $333,000 in POs that are still open. You want us to wait until all of that is closed?
Wait till that's done.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
and this may be one of the fine lines.
I was gonna say that, we talked today, we are planning on a dedication at Black Intermediate. We have not set the exact date yet, but we plan on doing a dedication to James A. Long, to Mosley, and then also to Danny Martinez. And we plan on doing them all the same time, the same ceremony. So as soon as that comes out, we will let all of you know. If y'all can remember to send them an email. And we'll probably advertise it too, but I do want to, for those of you who just joined us, Danny Martinez originally was on this committee. And then, of course, he passed away. But Danny was very instrumental in helping us get this bond passed in the first place.
I'll tell you, it would not have passed had he not been there.
And I've said this to J.R. Newbold or somebody the other day. John Newbold hadn't stood up in Crescent City and advocated for us. It would not have passed either.
Danny was.
Yeah, Danny was.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
And the money, he was the man.
Yeah. So it is.
All centered around his vision.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a nice plaque already made, and it'll be on the media center. Yeah, but we will let you know probably sometime this fall. I'll let you know.
What do the kids say or feel when they jump and go in the door the first time?
Oh, they were so excited. And I have 2 grandkids going, and they're just as excited as they can be. So, I mean, all the kids, when you walk in, you can't help but get excited when you walk in as an adult. Like, I walk in and I'm like, I'd almost go back to teaching. Almost. I wasn't so close to walking out.
Let me suggest this, take the same kids and take them out to Interlochen and run them through the old wooden school building with that 3 rooms in 6th grade.
We don't take anybody in that wood.
Yeah, I will say, we had community night at
cafetoriums, or you go into one of the media rooms.
Yeah. They're amazing.
We had community night at Middleton Burning a couple of weeks ago. And Sarah Jean McDaniel, who y'all know, actually, I don't know if you've seen it, I don't know if it's posted or not, but she did a video, and she did a video of the kids going in there, and she was asking them questions and all, and you just have to see it, the excitement.
Yeah, and that editorial comment on that, because I was involved, helping Danny, was very little part of it, but the pushback was you don't need new buildings to get kids to learn, but it's part of it.
Yeah.
Over on Signal.
And as Danny says, his famous quote, this costs taxpayers a soda pop per day.
There you go.
A soda pop's I hear pretty expensive.
We need to thank the taxpayers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They can be proud of it.
Yeah.
All right, we need to schedule the next meeting.
Put a date out there, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to meet in December? Or do we want to push it all the way to the next year? We're supposed to make it the schedule.
3 times a year or 4 times a
I believe it's 3.
year? It's supposed to be every quarter. That's not what it's for.
Exactly quarter or just?
Well, it's 4 times a year. I think it says 4 times a year. So have we met this year 3 times?
This is the 3rd meeting I've been at. I don't know if y'all been prior to February, I would think so.
We've only had 3.
All of y'all think so.
That means we have to have it this year. I got it.
See if I can find where it says.
And you've already done your report to the board.
I'm going to double check when I did it. Okay. That's once per calendar.
Right.
I did it once this year.
Yeah, you did it once this calendar year.
First part, I'm pretty sure it says 4 times per year.
The committee will meet quarterly, beginning in 2003, until all projects are complete.
Okay.
Well, why don't we just go ahead and pick a time in December and have it like a Christmas meeting?
Okay.
How about December the 24th?
16th is well.
I'm busy. Well,
I'm busy, I'm ready. I'm over here.
Is the school still in on December 16th, right? Yes.
16.
December 16th.
16th, 6 o'clock.
16 to 6.
Yes.
That's right in the middle of Melrose Parades.
And I want to welcome Ms. Benjamin, Mr. Vickers. First meeting, right? I must have missed a meeting. I missed my bad.
What were you saying about Melrose the 16th? That's gonna be like a hard week.
Let's
do it. How about the 9th?
Can it be the first week of December
Hold on a minute.
before everything?
The
How about the 9th?
How about the week of the 9th?
No, let's do the 9th.
Let's do the 9th.
12 November?
Or the second?
Is that a Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah. It's always on Wednesday because that's the prayer meeting night.
Wednesday, December the 9th.
Every church night.
Yes, sir.
You got to change for it? All right.
So are we good with December the 9th?
Yes.
Yes.
If nothing else, we shall adjourn.